Hey everyone, welcome back to Bachelor Happy Hour. I'm Joe.
And I'm Serena.
And we are here with the iHeart Music Awards and David's Bridal,
who are sponsoring this podcast, and we are so grateful to them.
Thank you for finishing my sentence. And we are here with our favorites, Dotun and Charity.
Hello.
We're not your favorites, don't lie.
I think
one of our favorites.
I feel like we've had this conversation.
No, y'all say this every time.
We introduce every couple the same.
Out of all the couples, you guys have been on this podcast the most.
Probably.
Really?
Maybe,
Yeah.
That's
maybe.
actually really shocking.
How does that make you feel?
I feel
A certain way?
a little bit. Top of the tier.
Yeah,
Top
in
tier?
good graces with Daddy ABC.
Yeah. How did you feel podcasting with me, Charity?
I loved it.
We had fun.
I was kind of nervous. I didn't tell you that before. I was like, I just don't know how this is gonna go.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
He
was
said
like-
you did a great job.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
No, it's just like it's Joe.
I don't really know what that's supposed to mean.
No, not in a bad way, but I was like, I just know Joe's like humor. Like I was like recommending Dot to do it. I was like, that would have been so funny, but it probably too chaotic. But I actually had a great time, and it did go good. So thank you.
You were great. When we had all the four guys on, including you, it was chaotic. It got chaotic for a minute.
It did.
So we have fantasy suites tonight.
Yep. Well, last night. We're
Last
recording
night?
this Monday, but this is coming out on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, who was up first?
It was Zoe, then Juliana, then Zoe, then Latia.
Yes.
Okay, now I have a question. Where would you want to be placed for fantasy suites? Do you want to go first or do you want to go last?
I would love to be in the middle.
You want to be in the middle. Do you
She
think that's
said,
the best spot?
I don't want to be first because I feel like that's like too much pressure.
Yeah.
And like with all things considering, and then last is like, you just don't want to go last.
No, you don't. Yeah.
But I always say save the best for
When did
last.
Dotun go?
Yeah.
What
He
place
went
for you?
last. Save the best for last.
Which I ended up like figuring, because obviously they don't tell us, so you never know. But ended up figuring it out because it was so long between the time. I was like, there must be like a couple other people.
Right,
ahead
they
of me.
won't tell you like, hey, you're going last.
Yeah,
It'll
yeah.
just be like you show up
Yeah.
and maybe you're first, maybe you're last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Pat would come every day. He'd be like, maybe today's the day. Maybe. Every single day he'd do that.
Hometowns is
Yeah.
kind of the same-ish.
Yeah.
He was last. That's why I thought he wasn't going to. 'Cause he was last for hometowns too. I was like,
You're like,
can
why
he-
don't you
yeah, I
like
was like,
me?
can he go first? Like,
I'm so
hello.
weak. No, I actually appreciated going last. I
Yeah.
did.
I would want to go last.
That's sort of how I feel.
Why?
Middle and last is good, but I like last because lasting impression first and foremost. So you get to be the last one to really stick
Yeah.
out there,
Right,
which
yeah.
is important. It's
And
really
you
easy
don't
like,
have to
forget.
sit on your... I think first is the worst
Not me
spot.
saying middle.
Yeah.
No,
Like
middle's good, but I feel like first is the worst because then you have a great time and then you have to sit on it
Yeah,
all
that's what I'm
week.
saying. And my mind would like not let me do that.
And the only reason why I think anybody would even like first is because like the fantasy. suite
Yeah,
part.
you're like,
Yeah,
let
it's
me
like
get this
insecure
done
about
before
that. Yeah,
anyone
I don't want any sloppy seconds. Which,
well,
that's crazy.
Come on now.
It's part of the show. You're gonna pretend like it's not.
No,
It's
I know.
Every season.
Well, I
it's
only
part of
had
the
two
show.
fantasy suites.
well,
so
did
there
you
we go.
pick your order?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
See, I would prefer to go...
I wanted him first.
Did you?
Yeah.
I would prefer to go last because of what Juliana said in this episode of like everything went really great.
Yeah.
But like now two other people are going. And
Yeah.
like this could have been amazing, but now it could be like amazing times two with the next
Right.
person, and then I'm fucked.
Which is what Serena was saying. It's like you have to sit on your thoughts of like whether it went good or even if it went bad. It's like now I have all this time in this window before I see him again.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I felt like going last. I felt very comfortable, somewhat, in that rose ceremony.
Oh,
Because it was just like, you can more or less predict sort of how things went. You
Yeah.
know? And you can read the lead.
Yeah.
and, like, you'll get a vibe if you're.
I feel
probably
like you
going
can get
home.
more of a vibe at the end of the week
Yes.
because if you guys are in a really good place, you're gonna know, and
Yeah.
if the other two dates have gone well and you might be on the chopping block,
Yeah.
you're gonna know
Yeah,
because she's
she'll
already
be a little like
she has all the
reserved.
information.
Can you go off script really quick? Wait, how did you know what my vibe was? Sorry, I don't think we ever talked about this.
Your vibe?
Yeah, at the rose ceremony. You just said you kind of saw the vibe. Sorry.
Well,
No, this is good because
Like,
I
I
want
need
to get
to-
real with
yeah,
this because I
yeah.
have another question for you too.
Like,
no, like
I was nervous.
not like yours, but like here's what my thought process is. If I was going home, there's no way you would have had much energy. You would not have been like as
Right.
excited. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you'd be definitely like laid down, unless you're just like a horrible person. You'd be laying down like the carpet for this person, I'm going to send them home. There's a
heartbreak.
good chance.
Yeah,
Like,
you'd be like cushioning the blow
Yes,
through
exactly.
the fantasy suite, trying to like be like, hey.
Yeah. Say things like, we've had a really good time. Like
Yeah,
when you hear
like,
that.
I've got a lot to think about.
Yeah, exactly. So like none of that was there. We were like just smiling. It was like
Yeah.
our first date, and I knew you were tired, and so even despite that, so that's why I was like
Okay.
somewhat comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get real. Cameras are off. You're not recorded. Did you ask her like, "Hey, is it me?" Did you ask that question?
No, I never did. I never straight up asked. No.
Why not?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's an African in me, but like I'm never too confident about anything, even if it's like it's clear. And I think we talked about this in the show too. That like generally when something feels like it's mine, it ends up falling. I fall short, and so it's just like a mental thing.
You didn't want to like jinx it.
I didn't want to exactly. I didn't want to jinx it.
You were scared like if I ask, it's gonna take me out of the running and like push her away.
Exactly, yeah, or just change, what the plan is, what the universe's plan is. So, that's really, it was more of a personal thing.
I feel like a lot of people have that mentality in fantasy suites because we've asked a lot of people like, did you ask the question? Like, is it me?
Yeah.
And I would say no one on this podcast ever has.
It's also not fair, really.
Right.
I
Put them
also,
on the spot like
wonder,
that.
Yeah, how would you have received that?
I respectfully would have declined answering that.
Yeah.
Like most
and
people
I
would.
do have like somewhat of regrets from my season, but like it was never anything like I was making actual promises of like, okay, I can't wait to get engaged. Like I never said any of those things, and I think that would have just definitely put him in a not so good headspace regardless of the outcome. But yeah, no,
Well, I
don't
guess the
think
last thing you want to do too is say it, and like even if you're 100% sure in that moment, God forbid,
Yeah,
something,
that's what I'm saying. Something comes
that
up
night
or
changes,
Exactly.
or like
Which
you
is-
realize you're not compatible,
was me.
and then
Yeah.
you're like, oh my God, I have to eat my words now.
exactly,
So
which I
painful.
knew that.
Yeah.
Thank God.
No, you did good. You did good. What did you guys talk about in
Like,
your
what is the fantasy suite? Boom Boom Room?
Boom, boom, room.
Yeah.
No, we have fantasy suites on Paradise.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have fantasy suits. So
Yeah, and we
Nasty
hadn't done.
nasties.
We didn't do boom boom room. So what did you say?
Say you're nasty.
Skipping forward.
I actually, when we left fantasy suites, I was not sure if I was like, I'm not going to ask you to marry me.
Yeah, and I said, please don't.
Yeah, and then you give me you see it now, a day by
Yeah.
myself, and
He can't
crazy
be
things
alone.
happen.
I leave him for like a day, and I come back, and he's like bought like a new couch and booked us a trip to Japan. Like you can't
Love
leave him
that.
alone. We get on. Yeah, we booked.
Yeah.
Well, he booked it in a day. I told like literally he was like, I have nothing to do. And I'm like, go book us, go plan a trip.
This is after the show. After
Yeah,
filming
yeah.
ended, right? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
after
yeah,
filming
yeah.
ended.
Like,
Joe
why?
just like leaving him alone is so dangerous. He needs a buddy at all times.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
So it sounds like you should leave him alone more often.
Yeah, I was like, maybe this
I mean,
Yeah.
cool things happen.
like-
Cool
Yeah, I
things
was
happen.
like, that's
happen.
kind of fun. Not Joe being spontaneous.
He's
How
so
do we-
spontaneous.
How do we feel about Latia saying that she doesn't want to be intimate
And
going into the fantasy?
she
suites?
also said, "Don't tell me anything about the other women in
I
Westbend."
I
I
respect
agree
that.
with that.
I please do not.
Yeah.
I'm begging.
That's like,
actually
unspoken.
don't.
Like I shouldn't even have to tell you. Like why
Well,
would I? I know it happens every
So
season.
we see
but
Latia
you did
sit
the same
down.
thing.
I did. Oh,
Well, you didn't
not
you
like
didn't verbatimly
outright.
say that,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you were just like it was like an understood like
Yeah,
respect
yeah,
thing
yeah,
of like
yeah.
our relationships
Yeah.
are ours. Like I
Yes,
don't need
exactly,
to know. Yeah,
exactly.
and
Well, I
I
think
really-
what
I love
provoked
that.
it was Katie Beggar and Latia to sit down chat and kind of unpacked what
Yeah.
Katie went through. And Latia was like, "This has kind of given me the confidence to actually explicitly say to him, hey." We don't. This is she. I think her exact quote was, "This is an honesty hour. If you did anything, let's
Like-
deal with it later, and not now when we have like such limited time together."
Yeah. I mean,
Which I thought was interesting because I think it was. I agree. It's like typically you think it's an unspoken rule. I think it was the first time we've seen someone explicitly be
Say
like,
it.
"Shut your mouth and don't tell me about your other
Whoa.
connection."
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, you're right. I don't think we've ever seen it like be aired that way.
Oh, interesting. I wonder what that says about the lead.
Like about what she thinks Grant might do.
To like feel like you need to say that.
Yeah.
I
I
didn't-
feel like you think that she probably viewed him as someone who would be vocal about this thing. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, maybe she was nervous about it. Yeah,
Right.
or most likely, I think it's just like the church thing probably is the biggest part of it.
Yeah.
but it is interesting because like I would never really like think to explicitly like it wouldn't be eating me up like I gotta tell Charity like don't tell me like
Yeah.
I would just be like if she's probably not going to I might
Yeah.
just reiterate our
Right.
relationship is
No, I
ours,
think
but-
that's a good point because if you didn't feel like you had to say that to Charity, it probably speaks to the way that you were
Right.
moving throughout your journey.
Exactly.
And it also probably speaks to the way that maybe Grant's been moving. If she
Right.
felt like, hey, like
Yeah.
don't
Please don't.
tell me anything.
I also think it's different, a little different for men and women.
Yeah, that's true.
I think a
Good
woman going into a room alone with a man is more like, let me lay the ground rules before we step into this room.
Yeah.
I didn't do that.
Where a guy like
yeah, but you were the Bachelorette.
You were
I
the
feel like it's a
Bachelorette.
little different. Like you were in the power position.
Okay.
yeah, I wouldn't
But I was
expect
still scared as hell.
yeah, but I wouldn't expect Dotun to be like, hey, just so you know.
No, that would
ground
be
rules.
crazy.
That would have been good TV.
No, I would
Yeah,
have
yeah.
lost my mind.
Just give her a stern.
Yeah, you would
give
not
her a
have liked
stern
that.
talking.
I wouldn't have either.
I think that would actually give me the ick if you had
Go
to
ahead.
do that.
Zoe,
Yeah.
finish your
Respectfully.
No, hold on.
But
Wait,
we love respect.
So we saw that you were in Austin
Yeah.
with a lot of the girls from your season and Latia.
Yeah. She second trip.
Second trip.
Yeah. Wait,
yeah,
what?
nice. Now
We
that's
just almost lost the light.
But it was fun.
How was it? Yeah.
It was good. Yeah. They actually left like a day early. Katie had to head back, but we celebrated. It was her and Mercedes' like joint birthday.
Katie and Mercedes.
Mercedes and Latia.
also
Sorry.
like
Yeah, yeah,
Latia's
okay.
like now part of your crew.
Oh my
Crew,
God.
I
I mean,
know.
Yeah.
What was
Yeah,
her?
basically.
What was her
Happens.
in? Like who is her contact in the group that she?
I want to
knows?
say it was Katie first, and then it became me.
Right.
And then it just trickled.
At David's Bridal, love is in every stitch, from the initial sketch, wedding needs.
Quiz. You can search all.
It's one that knows you're
And to give Latia advice for
Yes.
Fantasy Suite. So that was like the.
IBM.com/productivity. IBM. Let's create.
So obviously Katie went on their season to give Latia advice for
Yes.
Fantasy Suite. So that was like the initial like spark of the
Right.
friendship, and then I think it just continued afterwards, and then following everything. we're
Yeah.
just-
So you
yeah.
guys were in Salt Lake City, which I'm assuming is the first time that she kind of met all of you in person.
We were in. Where were we?
Or-
Montana.
Montana.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh.
yeah. She's
Oh.
in Utah. She lives in Utah.
But weren't you guys on a trip a while ago in Utah?
I never went.
Where
to
were you
Utah.
in bikinis in the snow?
Montana?
Okay, she flew out and joined
Yeah,
you
yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Okay,
And
gotcha.
that was
Sorry, I
just
don't know
like-
why
No,
I
it's
thought you were in
okay.
Salt. I
It's
think I
okay.
just assumed you were because that's where she lives, and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
must be in her
No,
hometown.
we were in Montana. Please, you want to
What?
say something?
Jump
I'm
in.
listening.
Join the
Jump in,
conversation.
Done.
He hates the bikinis in the snow conversation.
No, it's
No,
great.
I
I'm
know.
happy for
But
you
anyway,
guys.
but
Isn't
yeah.
it cold?
No, it was we.
Well, yeah,
literally-
it's bikinis in the snow.
We
Of course it's
risked getting
cold.
hypothermia for those photos.
Wow.
They
Yeah.
were sick though.
Thank you.
I loved
do
them.
appreciate
Worth
that.
it.
But
Yeah,
no,
see, I
she's
don't
a-
get that. I don't get bikinis in the snow. Like
It's
if-
like
Just
it's
like an
a little-
aesthetic.
Yeah,
I don't
thank
know.
you. Explain.
Yeah.
I was like, it's an
It's
aesthetic.
also like
a
you
better-
get sick of taking.
But if him
You
and
don't
I if him and I did that, if we did
like.
Speedos in the snow, you guys would be like douchebags.
No,
Like,
I wouldn't.
Well,
I would
Speedos in
not-
the snow would be
I
hilarious.
I would be like, let's see it. Come on. I would not complain.
You heard it
I
here first,
beg him to
folks.
do stuff like that. And he's like, no.
Speedos in the snow.
Speedos
We're
in the
going to the
snow.
Sierra Nevada.
That's going to be the name of this podcast episode: Bachelor Happy Hour Speedos in the snow.
David's Bridal, if you're listening.
With David's
you wanna
Bridal.
make it
happen.
happen.
Sponsored
Shift your
by-
branding a little bit.
Sponsored by David's Bridal.
Speedos in the snow.
Room wear.
Speaking of Speedos, we have Paradise coming up.
Excellent segue.
That
Thank
was
you.
a
My
great
God.
pivot.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was really good.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Good
Thank you.
job.
I'm professional, you know. It's my story here. Dotun, out of all your friends from the show, who are you most excited to watch
For
on the
Paradise?
beach? Yeah, or who do you hope's going to be there, and
Drop some names.
you would be the most excited to watch?
Yeah.
Give us
just
some
because
good-
I hang out with them so much. Definitely Jeremy and John B. I'm so for. I'm so messy. As soon
you
as
are.
like I want everyone to go to the beach, even if it's
Yeah.
a horrible idea for them.
We're the
I still want them
same.
to go. I'm like, dude, you should go. Dude.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome. Like, I'm the biggest hype man. I would never do it, but I tell them to do it, so they're gonna do it. I think I've convinced them. But I'm excited for them. And honestly, like if any of the guys from our season went, truly, because
Yeah.
I just love them so much. I just love watching them, and it makes me invested.
Yeah.
Any like potential
I'm sure.
pairs that you see
Oof.
coming?
Yeah, like and anyone from
We've
your
heard
season?
Grant.
Yeah, I
I'll tell you,
can't
Grant
say.
said John B. No, John B. Jiggity John. Who?
I'm
that's-
screaming. Who?
Jonathan.
I'm like, who? Say
Yeah.
again.
Jonathan and Jiggity.
Yeah, truly.
We gotta have a lot of J names in the recent seasons,
There
to be
is.
honest. Jonathan and Alex from this last season was his like match made in heaven.
This is like going to
Interesting.
sound really bad. No,
Say it. Let's hear it.
No,
I
I
love
was-
when we start a sentence out like
Truly.
that.
Yeah.
no, that's why I'm like, I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this. But like, I feel like they like match well, but like, I actually don't know about personalities.
Okay,
if I'm
no,
being
that's not
so
bad at all.
respectful, like, I just think he might be like a tad bit more up, like, you know, just a little bit more out there. than he is.
Okay, like
Really? You don't get that from Alex?
No, I feel like she's actually a lot. I mean, as far as I've seen, so I
She's
actually
very
don't know. I
normal.
haven't met her in person yet, but like, I just don't sense that. I don't know. Like, I'm
Does she
trying to.
post
I'm
a
trying
lot?
to be
Yeah.
very cute right now.
No, you are. And I picked
Like, you
that
know
up.
what I'm
I
trying to
hear what you're saying, but
Does Alex post a lot on social
yeah,
media?
she's
She does?
been popping up on my TikTok a lot.
Well, isn't there like
okay.
a rumor that she like dated Diplo for a minute?
Yeah, I think she was
Oh.
dating like a DJ for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know if
that's
it's
true,
Diplo.
so I don't- I
You
mean-
didn't. Yeah, no, don't. This is not a credible
Yeah, fine.
journalistic podcast, guys. So no one quote
Don't
us
believe
on
most
that.
of what comes out of my mouth.
But yeah, that's just my take on
Okay.
those two.
Okay, I like it.
I can't say anything on my end because
Yeah, you can.
No, I can't because there's like past history with some of the people I'm thinking of, so I don't want to blow up anyone's spot.
Okay.
But hopefully it does show up on the beach. That'd be fun TV.
I like
Just-
low key hate that there's always past history. That's why I hate that Paradise is like so like there's such a big gap. I'm
See,
like,
I feel like you
start
kind
filming
of
right now
need it
because
though.
do you? It's annoying because I feel like that's what's happened last season. That's why
It
was
is
awful.
annoying
Sorry.
and it never works
was
out.
great, but
and
awful.
we know that. But also, like, it adds so much to the show because
Like the
you're.
tea,
what
like-
I like about it is like you're getting like real life drama that has already
happened.
happened, and then they're like, you're seeing things unfold in like real time. That's not fully like from the bubble.
No.
you're like pulling things from like the real world and being
Right.
like, all right, now hash it out.
No, see, but yes, you're right, and I like that, but that only works when it's like people who aren't like TV conscious. I feel like a lot of girls from my
100%.
season.
Sorry, yes, that's
and I
more
love
what I'm
them,
refer-
but,
like when two people
they're not
dated
gonna-
and then
yeah,
they
they're
both
not
end up
gonna
on the
air it out.
show.
They're like, oh, we shouldn't talk about it. Like you need someone, sorry, respectfully, like Carolina that doesn't care and is probably gonna come on and like put it all on the sand. You
See,
know?
we see a lot more of that now than we did when I was on like my first time.
Right.
Most people were just like, I'm here to just like make reality TV, and I don't because social media it was around, but I guess it just wasn't. I mean, it was really popular. It just wasn't like it is today, where
Yeah.
people didn't really.
well, people weren't like,
They weren't expecting backlash. They were just like,
oh, that's what you were trying to say.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Like there was kind of no there was way less fear of being on reality TV.
Like
Of
about
course.
how people are gonna perceive you
That
and
makes
stuff.
sense.
yeah, and just the hate you'll get on
Yeah.
social media that wasn't even a thing. Like
Yeah.
you
That
didn't
makes
even
sense.
think
That's-
about
Yeah.
that.
That's like in the last 5 years. That's that
Like
hating
post-COVID.
online has been-
Yeah, and
Right.
I think that's why we see so many people kind of like timid and not really airing it out, which I kind of wish they did.
Yeah.
well, yeah, and I
Yeah.
think there's the added component of like the people that are loved on this show. Like the Daisy and Maria, for example,
Yeah.
from recent seasons, they end up with these massive Instagram followings, which ends up being like new careers and new financial opportunities. So I think there's that kind of like underlying thought process, especially when people go on Paradise and it maybe like didn't work out for them
Yeah.
the first time, and they're like, well, if it doesn't work out again, like
has to- yeah,
maybe
yeah.
this could happen for
Yeah.
me. And I feel like you just end up with so many more like people that are moving in a very, I don't want to say
Strategic?
calculated, just
It's
like
strategic.
strategic
Oh,
way
calculated,
that doesn't
yeah.
always
Yeah.
like work in their favor. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? It's like
Yeah.
sometimes it's like you're being too calculated to
Exactly.
where like
Well,
it doesn't feel
I
authentic.
think it depends on certain factors, like how you look. How about that?
Well, yeah, that
I think that makes
definitely is a big
because
role
yeah,
for
there are certain
sure.
people who would get away with some nonsense, and we know
Yes,
that, right?
There's definitely
Yeah,
people
yeah,
that
yeah.
can and cannot get away with nonsense.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Sure.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
At David's Bridal, love is in every your go-to for all your
Perfect beach finder quiz.
It's one that knows
How much luck is involved?
Yeah.
Like I don't really know if
.com/productivity. IBM. Let's create.
I think we downplay how much luck is involved.
Yeah.
Like I don't really know if it's the environment for me, but like
Really, I feel like you're really you
You
thrive.
thrive. I was gonna say you
had
thrive.
a
Not the
No, I was
one.
gonna say the exact same thing.
You had 2-year serious relationship from the show, and then the next time you went on, you got married. It's like the best environment
Yeah.
for you. You've never had a relationship that
Cannot
formed
right now.
outside of this show. Your only 2 relationships are from Bachelor in Paradise. Ever. This is like, you're the poster child for like, you need to be in that environment to find love.
Okay, yeah, I guess.
That is
Well
case,
said.
case closed.
I don't really
truly.
have a comeback, but
Well, look, you're not going to be like, I'm amazing on the show, so I'll hype you up. Like, I think the show, but I also think the formula works for you, and I don't know if it works for everyone.
I think I know why though. I think it's because you're like you're a very thoughtful person. You're pretty like cerebral. I think that ends up working out in favor, unlike the opposite, which would be like a cat, right? Who's like doesn't have.
well, I also think I look into the future and I'm like, okay, like this is what it is down here, but like everything will change when you step into the real world, and then then I'll see if it really works. But I think I know enough right now where I could take that chance.
Right.
Well, I
like
was gonna say you're taking a big risk. Though.
Yeah.
Like a lot of like respectfully, I would be terrified if I went to Paradise.
But that's the thing. I'm a
I
gambler.
would not do good on Paradise.
Really? Why do you
No.
think you wouldn't do good on
It's
Paradise?
just the environment. Like if I, especially like just the fact that it's like no one's in control. Like you're only in control of yourself.
Yeah.
But like if I had like an interest and say it was like me and Dotun on the beach, obviously I can't really speak on this because I'm like if it was him, obviously. But if I locked in on him and like then there's like someone else like I just am too like if I knew we had established a connection at a certain point, I'm just not someone who wants to like bargain and like let me respectfully test out everybody on the like I don't care enough. Like if I'm vibing with someone, then I expect that to continue and my feelings respectfully would get like hurt.
Well, I
And
also think it would be hard going from being the lead where you have all the control
Would never come
essentially
back after.
to then no control.
Would never. Yeah.
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 Don,
I
do you
agree.
think you would thrive in Paradise?
I think I could do it. I don't think I would find love, but I think I can like put my emotions.
But that's
aside.
what I
I'm
mean
Pretty
when
good at like doing that.
But that's what I mean when I say luck. Like, you don't think you would find love, right? But if Charity was on the beach when you went,
Right.
then you
You would make it work.
Oh no, that's the most important thing I think you said. You mentioned it is that luck. I
Right.
actually am one of those people who never undermines the importance of luck in this process.
Yeah.
I think it's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And
So do
again,
I.
like I got lucky with the guys that we were with, right? Because they were all really cool. And if they were assholes and douches, I probably wouldn't have opened up, and I would not have. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of factors people don't take into consideration.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if he wasn't down there, like if he went a season later than me, I would not have ended up engaged. I would
Exactly.
have left
Yeah,
single or
exactly.
not, right?
Yeah.
So like sometimes it's just lining up the right people at the right time.
Right.
or even where you get placed. Like I was the third person on the beach, but what if I was the first drop?
And you
Like
had,
I
like,
wasn't even
extra
original
time.
cast.
Right,
Like,
and then you took
what
someone
would've-
else on a date.
Like what would have happened?
Right.
Yeah, you never
know?
know.
Or
Someone
even on the
puts
regular show, like if I got a lot of attention the first couple of weeks, I mean, I know it
It
worked
could have like
out.
either
Yeah.
fizzled out
You know
or
what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
it was kind of nice that I had a slow ramp up
Yeah.
because then she didn't get bored of me. You know?
Juliana actually, she came on and told us that she told Grant to not give her an early one-on-one date because she knew she wasn't going to be
Yeah.
able to open up, and that's why she had like the last one-on-one of the season. What do you think about
Oh,
that?
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
You think so?
That
I
is
do,
kinda smart.
For sure,
Yeah.
I think statistically they show that those early connections almost always fizzle out, right?
I might need that
So I
back.
think it's actually a good idea to like,
Cherokee like, my ring lights off?
I'm not glowing anymore.
yeah. I think it's I think that's actually a really smart idea. Just say,
Yeah.
hey, save it, and then again, it's all about like who's so many options, who's top of mind. You know,
Yeah.
that's recency bias is a real thing, and so like if you want a better shot, you don't want
Yeah.
to be an early connection.
Yeah.
As the lead, do you think like
No,
if-
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
I was
later
like,
one-on-ones
I
are
think
better.
The first, yeah, absolutely. They're just most recent, and
Yeah.
just for example, like who had the first one on my? I think it was
Aaron
Aaron
B.
B. And then
Yeah.
it's like I
See,
think
you already
when
forgot.
Well, I would hope so.
It's a good sign that you
right.
can't remember.
Not bad.
I think like when you have a first or an early one-on-one, you are almost expecting to either have a double, like 2 one-on-ones, and that's also not guaranteed, or
Yeah.
at some point something else that's like more meaningful to like reinforce like that early connection, which is again not guaranteed. So you're putting yourself in this like limbo of like, is it going to like happen? Is it not? And I just think, yeah,
yeah, it's
it's not
just
good.
safer to go
Yeah,
later on when
yeah.
you're like, okay,
yeah.
you know.
Hey, this man got 2 back-to-back.
I did.
Oh
Thank you, baby. I
yeah, you
appreciate it.
did. That was
Now,
wild.
How do you both feel about the show that you fell in love on is on pause?
It is kind of sad.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'd be crazy to say it's not. Like, it is our love story. But like, yeah. I don't know. I think it might be a good sign, so that things can we just need some recalibration there,
A little refresh.
Some things to fit in the grooves again. But yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I obviously I wasn't in Bachelor World at all until after the show. When I started learning about it, it makes a ton of sense for sure. Like, I just think there's just a lot of things that need to be tweaked. And even while we weren't during our season, things were being tweaked, right? You kind of saw I saw it happening. So I guess it sort of makes sense. And I don't want it to be canceled. I hope they bring it back because it is an amazing experience. Yeah, obviously, wouldn't have said that before the show, but having been on it. Even for all the guys who didn't get engaged, it was an amazing experience. So I do hope that they keep it on. I think need to make some tweaks and maybe modernize it a little bit.
Yeah, I think the Paradise break and then it coming back this year, if it goes well, will give some hope to okay, Bachelorette also taking a pause and then coming back. Yeah. Just because we saw they did that with Paradise, and maybe it's gonna result in a better show. Joe and I have been kind of speculating on who would have been Bachelorette had Bachelorette been a thing this year, because obviously we're watching the show being this person would be good, this person would be good. Who do you think could have been a good Bachelorette, or did you hear anything about who was maybe in talks to be Bachelorette?
Okay, if we're speaking girls from Grant season that was at the tell-all, I personally think Alex she had a great one-on-one conversation with Jesse. I thought that was kind of alluding to possibly okay, I don't know what's next for me, my love story continues. I think personally for me, again, I'm always rooting for her. I think she would have been a great candidate.
And then if they didn't go with you, would you have said yes to Paradise?
No.
You would have said no for sure?
No. I'm telling y'all,
no,
it's not a
you.
cap.
Cap.
I would actually, it would just be really bad for me. I would be doing myself a disservice.
Okay.
As in how I would have been acting. I would have been acting crazy down there. Okay. You don't need that.
Yeah, but you only know that after the fact.
Well, exactly.
You would have been I don't know what's going to happen. And then you would have went.
No.
I feel it's hard to ask you that question
First
now,
of all,
though, because you've now seen your friends go down and how it played out.
It's not even
exactly.
how they
were 1,000%.
acting.
That's exactly what it is.
No,
Once your friends are there, you'll be oh my God, let's go, girls. Oh my God.
No, first of all, the environment. I'm not, the humidity, are you kidding?
You would not have liked the conditions.
It's the conditions alone that's what would have sent me into the spiral. And then, the bugs, and then again, too possessive, sorry, in a healthy way, but
in a healthy way.
What's mine is mine. Go away.
That's why you are perfect for the Bachelorette role. You're all mine.
Yeah. So I just
Okay.
What the fuck are you looking at?
Well, closing off, life updates. You guys are still in Brooklyn. You moved.
Yes, we
did.
It's crazy. We're still getting settled. Would you like to talk about that? It takes forever to get an apartment together.
It does.
Truly.
Well,
no, it does.
And it does in New York City specifically.
Yeah.
Just because, you don't have a garage.
I don't
So it's
have
all these
luxury.
things. So we're constantly just MacGyvering things. Okay, we have 3 shoes here. We don't know where to put them.
Yeah.
So, how are we going to put them on the wall on the ceiling or something?
No, yeah. My
So-
we have
the
that
media
problem.
console
Yeah.
under my TV is
Yep.
literally just shoes and purses.
You get it.
Literally
Exactly.
bought 3 different cabinets to put shoes.
It is. It's rough.
And
It is
this
rough.
one is getting things faster than we can put them away.
What do you mean?
Buying and gifted.
Hey,
Gifted,
hang
like,
tight.
yeah.
No, but buying too. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Buying and gifted. So we're just slowly as we put things away. Then there'll be
More
2
just
more
keeps coming,
boxes.
yeah.
You're okay, so we're just gonna lose this game then. I guess.
Well, when we go away for 3 days, I come back and I'm I actually ordered something. Let me see if my package won't be there, and Serena will have 15.
No, it's
Yeah.
And then I'm
always the
I
same.
got to carry up 15 packages that aren't even fucking mine.
No, it is the same. I'm Dawn gets 1 compared to the 20.
And it's just what I ordered from Amazon.
It's like
not even
laundry
a
detergent for the house.
Yeah, no, literally.
Okay, so that's it for this episode of Bachelor Happy Hour. Thank you, Dotun and Charity, and thank you to David's Bridal. And let's go enjoy the iHeart Music Awards.